As lifters over 50, you're already aware that your body doesn't bounce back like it used to in your younger years. Muscle soreness still lingers a bit longer, the joints, aches and pains more frequently, and recovery days become mandatory. But one aspect of training that you might not have considered, that may not be on your radar yet, and it should absolutely be, is the concept of a deload week. Now, I'm Psymon H, Muscle After 50 coach, and I'm busy transforming men into strong, resilient oaks, rooted in muscle and shredding fat, of course, and standing strong against time. With me, you won't wither like a leaf. Nah, you'll thrive like a giant. Now, let's dive right in and meet the subject matter of deload weeks head on. The answer isn't as simple as a yes or no. You see, it depends on various factors, such as your training intensity, your recovery rate, and also your overall goals. Now let's break down what a deload week is, why it might be crucial for you, and when it might be necessary to use. A deload phase is essentially a planned period of reduced intensity and volume, typically lasting around 7 days. Think of it as a cruise control mode for your body, allowing it to take a breather without completely stopping. This isn't about skipping workouts, it's about doing less to give your body time to recover and heal. During a deload week, the emphasis is on reducing the workload that your muscles, tendons, and ligaments have to endure. This is especially important because while muscles might recover relatively quickly, tendons and ligaments take longer to bounce back. You see, a deload phase gives these often overlooked parts of your body a chance to heal and catch up, preventing long-term injuries and ensuring that you're ready to hit the ground running in your next training cycle. The idea of a deload week is really rooted in how your body responds to stress. When you work out, you're essentially breaking down your muscles, leading to temporary decreases in fitness and strength. Now, recovery is when the magic happens. Your muscles rebuild stronger, and that's a process called supercompensation. However, if you're constantly pushing it hard in the gym, you're not giving yourself a chance to recover, and you're certainly not giving yourself the opportunity to get stronger and adapt and grow. Instead, you might find yourself dealing with the increased fatigue, decreased strength, joint pain, and even a loss of motivation to train. This is where a deload week can make all of the difference. By easing off the gas for a week, you're allowing your body to recover fully, which in turn sets you up for even more greater gains in the long run. Now that's a valid question. Why not just take the entire week off? Wouldn't that solve the issue of fatigue? While taking a full week off might seem like the logical choice to discharge fatigue, it comes with its own set of risks. Completely stepping away from training could lead to a loss of the adaptations you've worked so hard to achieve over the past training cycle. A deload week, on the other hand, strikes a perfect balance. It's easier on the body compared to regular training, but it's still enough to maintain the gains you've made. By lowering the intensity and the volume, you can shed accumulated fatigue whilst not sacrificing your hard-earned progress. The first one is high training intensity. Now, if you're training heavy or you're consistently pushing your limits, your body will accumulate fatigue much quicker than if you was training at a moderate intensity. This is also true if you use light weights, simply because lots of those repetitions equal fatigue accumulation. A deload week helps manage this fatigue build-up and prevents it from turning into overtraining, which can particularly be harmful as you age. The second one is lingering pain and joint stiffness. Now, we all know that as we get older, our bodies are less forgiving. So if you start to notice over time that you're getting stiffer, joints and tendons are starting to hurt, that may be a sign that your body's giving you to say that you might need that extra time to recover. Now, the beauty of a deload week is that it gives those important structures time to catch up with our muscle recovery. The third one is when you're losing that motivation to train. Now, if you're getting into a situation where otherwise you would normally feel motivated to get and hit that gym, but for a while you're now feeling a bit demotivated and you haven't got that oomph to get into the gym, that may be a sign that your mind needs to take a back seat, and this is where deload comes in. But be very aware. Make sure you can decipher between losing motivation through fatigue build-up and just being goddamn lazy and not wanting to train. The last situation where you might need a deload is if you're having stalled progress. Now, this is especially important if you do training cycles and you've just noticed over a training cycle that your weights that you use in the gym are not going up, pushing extra repetitions are becoming harder. That's a sign that you may have fatigue accumulation. So having a deload week right there and being able to be flexible about it so you can read the signs is very, very important. Good question. You see, while deloads are essentially beneficial and really important, they're not absolutely necessary for everyone. You see, a lot will depend on how you train. So here are a few scenarios that probably wouldn't warrant doing a deload. Now, the first one is if you pop into the gym and you're using the intensity of a low carb battery. In other words, you're not training hard. You're just going through the motions, doing sets of 10, when in fact, with that weight, you could be doing sets of 20. And you're not doing very many sets. And you're probably only training 2 to 3 times a week. You probably won't need a deload. Another scenario where you don't need a deload is if you train like how I do. Now, I do high intensity slow motion training. Now, with that, although the intensity is super high, the volume is low and the frequency is low. So now that gives me time in a week. If I only train twice in 8 days, that gives my body time to be able to recover and dispel with any fatigue accumulation. Now, if you decide that a deload week is absolutely essential for you, this is how you would roll it out effectively. The first thing you're going to do is reduce your intensity. You drop the weight you're lifting usually by about 40 to 60%. Now, the goal isn't to push your limit, but to keep your body moving with minimal stress. The next thing you do is reduce volume. So cut back on the number of sets and reps that you're doing for that 1 week's worth of workouts. For example, if you typically do 4 sets of one exercise, reduce it by 2. Now, the other bit that is super important when you're doing deload weeks is that deload weeks gives you an absolute perfect opportunity to focus on your form. So when you're using a deload week, perfect the form and technique. And finally, when you're in that deload week, keep moving. Light cardio, like swimming, taking nice easy walks, are all good for helping you to recover without putting extra stress on your muscles. To deload or not to deload? That is the question. Now, for lifters over 50, a deload week can be a powerful tool for your training arsenal, helping you to manage fatigue, prevent injuries, and keep making progress. However, it's not always necessary, and the decision is completely up to you. Now remember, in the words of Muscle After 50, a deload is your body's way of saying, let me catch up to your ambition.
For more awesome content, like and subscribe now.